Hey guys, it's Kelly. I am back with another process video, and today's layout I am using some things that I have pulled from my stash. If you guys have been on my channel for a while, you know that I have said before I really want the Maggie Holmes Bloom collection. I just love everything that she puts out, and I kind of challenged myself to make a few layouts using my stash before I'd allow myself to purchase any of it. And the fact that it's not in stock, or bits and pieces are in stock, not the whole collection anywhere online, is also a good motivator, because I'm like, well, let me get another layout done while I am waiting for it to come back in stock. So I decided on that floral paper. That is one that I got in an 8.5 by 11 value pack at Michael's, and I wanted to use that. That was kind of my inspiration piece for the rest of the papers that I chose to go along with it. These frames are from her collection, and I think they're the first frames that she ever came out with. Their fabric, so I found that the best way for me to figure out how to put it onto the photo, since it was a smaller photo, was actually to adhere it onto the paper and then put the frame on top of the photo and the paper. And I just cut out the part that you could see me struggling for about 5 minutes until I finally got smart and changed the way that I was doing it. So the floral paper is very, very busy, and the photo, even though it's black and white, is still kind of busy. We were joking that we were not dressed appropriately between my colors and my sweater and the brick wall and the colors of Susanna's shirt. We clashed so badly, and it's so funny that a black and white, you can really tone things down, but for a black and white, for me, that one's still kind of busy, but I do like the way that it came out. So what I was trying to do is do a little bit of a different layout on this page. I was thinking that I was going to have the photo cluster on top, and I usually don't for whatever reason, and I was just thinking, well, I'm going to switch things up. But when I added the title on top of it, I really felt like it needed to come down to the bottom of the page. So it will eventually work its way back down to the bottom. And what I'm trying to do is go through some of these papers and just, cut some layering pieces to go either behind the photo, the clusters, things like that. Like I said, I'm really trying to, make a dent in some of the things that I do have stashed away. And, for me, the good thing is I still love all of these papers. I don't even know how old they are. It doesn't matter to me. The patterns are, they thrill me just as much now as they did when I first got them. So that's the good thing about finding a designer that you love. So again, I'm pulling out some of her, things that are in older collections. Now, I'm not sticking with one collection. I'm just pulling out, like I said, taking that flower piece as my inspiration. And once I found that frame, I determined pretty much that yellow and pink were going to be the main two colors, and then bring in kind of that aqua green, turquoisey. It's a couple of different blue-green colors. So I do have several of her die cuts, or these can also be some cut aparts that I have kind of put together. I have a few of plastic photo boxes that I just keep some of these ephemera packs that have a bunch of pieces still left. And this is my process. When I am trying to pull out things, I will go through the box, and what I'm putting on the top lid part of the box are things that I don't think will work. And then I'm just throwing things kind of by color onto the page. You see, I'm bringing out some various shades of yellow, those greens, and pinks, just, to, see what else I want to add. I wanted to challenge myself, and sometimes I'll give myself a number. Well, you have got to get it 5 pieces of, ephemera or something on this page. I just wanted to have it be a page that I loved the way it looked, and that I used several things, but that it didn't look like I threw the kitchen sink on the page. And, you know, for me, that's just a look that I prefer. So I was really liking the way that it was starting to come together, so I decided to go ahead and adhere some of my layers. One of my pet peeves when I'm making my page is to have my layers move all around on me, especially if I'm pretty certain that's where they're going to stay. I like to go ahead and get some of them, or at least, you know, the main parts of it down so that I can move it as a whole, rather than, you know, having to adjust all of the little pieces, you know, back and forth. So I pulled out that Friends thicker title. I think that is, I can't remember if that's an Amy Tan pack or a Dear Lizzie pack. I'm not sure which one, but I just loved the, it's kind of like a, it's not a real shiny gold, but it's not a matte gold. I just loved that it really went well with the yellows, and you know, made for an easy title, and it really just kind of nestled around the photo nicely, and I just thought it was perfect. Plus it's using things in my stash. So I did pull out one of the fabric bows that I have from her collection. I kind of love bows as well, so I have several packs of different ones, and I don't use them enough, but every time I do, I'm like, oh, that is just like the perfect little accent. So it's nice to have a girly page where I can put it on. So I was pretty pleased with the way that it was coming together. You know, I leave in most of my process for this video just so you can kind of see, you know, how I go about it. At this point on my desk, you can see that I had, you know, everything in like color categories, and at this point I decided that I was pretty happy with what I added behind the photo cluster, and I wanted to bring a little bit of just dimension on to the cardstock without introducing another color. So I just took out my light modeling paste and a Heidi Swap stencil, and I just put some polka dots around the page. But I kind of, one thing about when I'm doing white on white, sometimes you can't quite, you know, figure out how it's going to see, or it, what I'm trying to say is, what I was trying to have is that the polka dots kind of be a little bit more random, and they weren't quite random enough. So what I did was I just flipped the piece of paper over and I used them on the back, and that's how quickly the light modeling paste dries. So I did not waste, you know, that piece of cardstock. I did trim it down to 11.5 by 11.5, and I mounted it on this piece of yellow cardstock, not cardstock, pattern paper. And usually I wouldn't use an entire piece of paper, but for me, I felt like if it had been in my stash for that long untouched, it was okay to use the whole sheet and mount the white on it. And I do save a bunch of my pieces, and I do, you know, especially with her collection, but I'm also trying to be good and not just hoard things. And let's face it, I really do have plenty of paper, so it was okay for me to not save that little bit. Now, if it were a pink or a turquoise paper, I can tell you that I would have gutted it. Just because those are my favorite colors to work with. This yellow for me is a little bit more difficult, so I didn't feel any guilt. So this is pretty much it. I do pull out one of the butterflies from my stash. It was a butterfly that I got from a Studio Calico kit, and at the end of the video you don't see it when I sew it on, and I do it in 2 different places, but you will see that in the stills. I just, the way my room is set up, I can't bring my sewing machine, or I can't set my tripod up above the sewing machine to where you can see what I'm doing. So I always sew off camera. So that's pretty much it for me today. Like I said before, I will have some close-ups at the end where you can see all the details. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I hope you guys enjoy this. and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.